Pay attention to what I am going to tell you now. If you woke up today feeling a weight on your chest, an anguish that has no explanation, a strange sensation that something big is about to happen, stop everything you are doing. This video did not appear by chance on your screen. I need to tell you something that will completely change the way you view the next hours of your life. There is a phenomenon that science has already begun to study, and that the oldest spiritual traditions in the world have known for millennia. It happens at a specific time in the morning, around 8 o'clock, and is directly linked to contracts, proposals, news, and opportunities that appear out of nowhere and transform entire months. I'm going to show you why this happens, why it is happening precisely now with you, and what you need to do before 8 o'clock tomorrow morning to activate this cycle. If you are going through financial difficulty, waiting for an answer, a contract, an approval, a door that insists on not opening, stay here until the end. What I will reveal in the third block of this video is what separates those who receive the miracle from those who just watch others receive them. Before continuing, I need to ask you an honest question. How many times in recent months have you woken up and the first thing you did was pick up your cell phone, open social media, look at bad news, read collection messages, see the lives of others, and start the day already feeling down? I know this happens because it is the reality of millions of Brazilians. A research from the Sleep Institute of São Paulo showed that more than 60% of adults over 35 years old in Brazil already wake up with an elevated level of cortisol, the stress hormone. This means that even before putting your foot on the ground, your body is already in survival mode. And that is exactly where the problem lies. Because when you wake up in survival mode, your brain enters a state called negative vigilance. It begins to filter reality, looking for threats, problems, and difficulties. Everything that is an opportunity, everything that is an open door, everything that is a positive sign, the brain simply ignores. It is not that the opportunity does not exist. It is that you are neurologically programmed not to see it. Now think with me. If your brain is ignoring real opportunities because of the emotional state in which you wake up, how many times in recent months has a door opened and you did not even notice? How many times has someone sent you a message with a proposal and you took a long time to respond because you were busy complaining about life? How many times has a contract, a vacancy, a real chance passed by your side and you simply did not see it? This is not theory. This is neuroscience applied to daily life. Dr. Andrew Huberman, a neuroscientist from Stanford, explains that the first 2 hours after awakening are what he calls the morning neuroplasticity window. It is the period when the brain is most receptive to new connections, new patterns, and new perceptions. In other words, it is the window where you can literally reprogram the way you see your reality. And guess what time this window reaches its peak for those who wake up between 5:30 and 6:30 in the morning, which is the schedule of the majority of working Brazilians, exactly around 8 o'clock. If this content is making sense to you, leave a like now. This simple gesture helps this video reach other people who also need to hear this today. Now let us get to what really matters. Why do so many people report that extraordinary things happen precisely around 8 in the morning? I am not talking about coincidence. There is a spiritual reason and a scientific reason, and the two complement each other in a way that will impress you. From a spiritual point of view, various traditions teach that the period between sunrise and 9 in the morning is considered an energetic portal. In the Indian Vedic tradition, this period is governed by the energy of Brahma, the energy of creation. It is the moment when the field of possibilities is most open. In the Jewish Kabbalah, the first hours of the morning are associated with Sephirat Chesed, which represents divine kindness and abundance flowing without obstacles. In Candomblé and Umbanda, traditions so present in Brazilian culture, the morning is the time when offerings for opening paths are made, precisely because there is an ancestral understanding that the morning energy favors the new. And in Christianity, one only needs to look at the Psalms. Psalm 5 verse 3 says, "In the morning I present my prayer to you and I wait." There is a universal wisdom that points in the same direction. The morning is not just the beginning of the day. The morning is the beginning of an entire cycle of creation. From a scientific point of view, what happens is equally fascinating. Between 6 and 9 in the morning, the human body undergoes a precise hormonal cascade. Cortisol rises naturally, not as stress, but as activation energy. Dopamine reaches a morning peak that increases motivation and the ability to make decisions. Serotonin, when stimulated by sunlight, regulates mood and expands perception. And most impressively, a study published in the Journal of Neuroscience showed that the activity of the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for planning, decision-making, and perception of opportunities, is significantly higher in the early hours of the morning. Translating into simple language, your brain was biologically designed to identify opportunities in the morning. If you are wasting this window scrolling through social media feeds, you are literally throwing away your greatest neurological resource of the day. But here is where things get truly deep, and I need you to pay close attention because what I am going to say now changes everything. Most people know they should have a better morning routine. This is not news. But what almost no one knows is that there is a brutal difference between waking up early and waking up in a state of reception. You can wake up at 5 in the morning, take a cold shower, meditate for 20 minutes, read 10 pages of a book, and still be completely closed to what the universe is trying to deliver to you. Do you know why? Because being busy is not the same thing as being open. Let me give you an example that will be clear in your mind. Imagine you're at the São Paulo bus station. In that rush, everyone walking fast, and someone drops a wallet with 2,000 reais in front of you. If you're looking at your cell phone with headphones on, worried about the bus schedule, you will walk over that wallet without even noticing. Now, if you are walking present, attentive with open eyes and a calm mind, you see the wallet, pick it up and return it, or, depending on the situation, the universe is showing you something. The wallet represents the signs, the opportunities, the messages, the contracts that are falling in your path every day. The question was never whether the miracle is available. The question has always been whether you are in a state of reception to perceive it when it arrives. This is the point that separates people who live complaining, that nothing happens, from people who seem to have luck in everything. It is not luck. It is a state of consciousness. And now I am going to teach you how to enter this state before 8 in the morning. If you are following along until here, do the following. Write the word prepared in the comments. I want to see how many people are truly willing to apply what comes next. And if you know someone who is going through a difficult phase, waiting for an answer, needing a turnaround, share this video with that person now. Sometimes the miracle in someone's life begins with a simple gesture from someone who cares. Now let us go to the protocol. I call this the protocol of the 8 because its objective is to place you in a state of maximum reception exactly at the time when the neurological and spiritual window is most open. There are 5 steps, and each has a specific reason. The first step is the silence of the first 10 minutes. When you wake up, in the first 10 minutes, do not touch your cell phone. Do not turn on the television. Do not speak to anyone if possible. These first minutes are sacred because your brain is still transitioning from the state of theta waves, which is the state of deep sleep and the subconscious, to the state of alpha waves, which is the state of alert relaxation. In this transition, the border between the conscious and the subconscious is blurred. This is exactly why many people have their best ideas right upon waking. It is why solutions to problems appear in the morning. When you pick up your cell phone immediately, you force a sudden transition to beta waves, which is the state of alertness and stress. You skip the most creative and receptive phase of your day. So the first step is to protect these 10 minutes. Stay in silence. Breathe. Feel your body. Allow the subconscious to finish processing what it was working on during the night. The second step is the declaration of opening. After the 10 minutes of silence, still before looking at the cell phone, you will make a declaration out loud. It does not need to be anything elaborate. It can be something simple like, I am open to receive what is mine today, or I authorize good to reach me this morning, or even something from your faith tradition like, thank you, Lord, for what you are preparing for me this day. The important thing is that it be out loud. There is a reason for this. When you speak out loud, you activate the vagus nerve, which is the largest nerve of the parasympathetic nervous system. The activation of the vagus nerve reduces the heart rate, decreases negative cortisol, and places the body in a state of physiological receptivity. Furthermore, Hearing your own voice declaring something positive creates an auditory loop that reinforces the belief in the subconscious. It is not empty, positive thinking. It is neurological engineering combined with spiritual principle. You are literally programming your brain and opening your energetic field at the same time. The third step is what I call the visualization of receiving. For 3 to 5 minutes, close your eyes and imagine with as much detail as possible the moment you receive the good news, the signed contract, the message with confirmation, the phone call that changes everything. Do not imagine in a vague way. Imagine details. What is the expression on your face? What do you do with your hands? Who do you call first to tell? How is the sensation in your chest? Where are you when you receive it? What are you wearing? Neuroscience has already proven that the brain does not perfectly distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real experience. When you visualize with emotional details, the brain begins to produce the same chemical substances it would produce if that had already happened. Dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. You literally place the body in the biochemical state of receiving. And when the body is in the state of receiving, behavior changes. You make different decisions. You respond to messages in a different way. You speak to people in a different way. And this altered behavior is what generates the results that seem miraculous, but in reality are the consequence of a transformed internal state. The fourth step is the sacred action before 8. Between the moment you finish the visualization and 8 in the morning, you need to perform at least one concrete action in the direction of what you desire. If you are waiting for a job, send a resume. If you are waiting for a contract, make a call. If you are waiting for a reconciliation, send a message. If you are waiting for a cure, schedule an appointment. The universe responds to action, not just intention. There is a verse in James chapter 2, verse 26, which says that faith without works is dead. And it is not just in the Bible. In Spiritism, the doctrine teaches that merit comes through effort and attitude. In Buddhism, right action is one of the paths of the Eightfold Path. The action before 8 o'clock is not just any action. It is an action taken in an elevated state of consciousness after silence, declaration, and visualization. It is an action charged with intention, and an action charged with intention has a completely different weight than an action taken automatically, in stress, in haste. The fifth step is anticipated gratitude. At 8 o'clock sharp, wherever you are, take a 30-second pause. It can be on the bus, in traffic, at your work desk, in the kitchen, 30 seconds. And in this half-minute, give thanks as if you had already received. Thank you for the contract that is arriving. Thank you for the news that is on the way. Thank you for the turnaround that has already begun. Anticipated gratitude is one of the most powerful principles of quantum physics applied to consciousness. The observer influences the result. When you give thanks as if you had already received, you collapse the wave function of possibility and pull that reality closer to your experience. It may seem abstract, but the results are extremely concrete. People who practice anticipated gratitude consistently report changes in periods of 7 to 21 days. It is not magic. It is the combination of an optimized neurological state, aligned behavior, and directed spiritual energy. Now, I know what you might be thinking. You might be thinking, this sounds too good to be true, Ramin, or I have already tried everything and nothing works. I understand. Truly, I understand. When you are in the middle of difficulty, when bills are tight, when anxiety hits every day, when it seems like everyone is advancing except you, it is very difficult to believe that something simple can change anything. But let me tell you something you might not know. Most of the great transformative events in people's lives happen suddenly. A work contract that appears on a random Tuesday, an unexpected call at 8:15 in the morning, a message from someone you did not even remember anymore, an approval that arrives when you had already given up on waiting. Research on significant life changes shows that most people describe their turning points as something that happened suddenly, that I did not expect, that appeared out of nowhere. But the truth is that nothing appears out of nowhere. Everything that seems sudden is, in reality, the result of an invisible accumulation. Every prayer you made and thought was not heard, was heard. Every night you cried asking for a way out, was recorded. Every day you woke up, and even without wanting to, got up and went to work, was accounted for. You are closer than you imagine, and that is exactly why this video reached you just now, just today, just at this moment in your life. I want to share something that happened to a person who watched one of my videos a few months ago. She sent me a message saying she had been unemployed for 8 months, living with her mother, with a small child, and that she had already lost hope. She started doing the protocol without believing much, just out of desperation. On the 4th day, she received a call at 8:12 in the morning from a company where she had left a resume 5 months ago. 5 months. They had an open vacancy and found her resume in the pile. She passed the interview, started working, and today she is in her own apartment with her son. A miracle? Yes. But a miracle that needed a woman willing to place herself in a state of reception, even when everything inside her said it was not going to work. That is the point. The miracle of the 8 is not about the time, it is about the state. The time is the anchor. The state is the miracle. When you place yourself in a state of reception at a moment when the body, the brain, and the spiritual energy are aligned, you become a magnet for that which is already yours by right, but which you are blocking without knowing. I want you to understand the depth of what is happening here. We are not talking about cheap positive thinking, the kind where you stick a pretty phrase on the mirror and pretend everything is fine. We are talking about a deep reprogramming that involves body, mind, and spirit. The 3 levels working together. Silence reprograms the nervous system. The declaration reprograms the internal language. The visualization reprograms the belief system. The action reprograms behavior. And anticipated gratitude reprograms the energetic field. It is a complete approach. And the most beautiful thing is that anyone can do it. It does not need money. It does not need an expensive spiritual retreat. It does not need a guru. It needs commitment to yourself for 7 days. Just that. 7 mornings. 7 encounters with your own potency. 7 opportunities to reconnect with what you always knew deep down, but that the noise of the world made you forget. And now I need to talk about the 3 most common blocks that prevent people from receiving what is already destined for them. Pay attention, because probably at least one of these blocks is active in your life now, even if you do not notice it. The first block is guilt. Many people in Brazil, especially those raised in a rigid religious environment, carry the belief that they do not deserve good things. They do not deserve prosperity. They do not deserve ease. That suffering is noble and that asking is shameful. I see this every day in the messages I receive. People who say, "I do not deserve it. I have already made too many mistakes. I am not worthy of this." And do you know where this programming comes from? It comes from childhood. It comes from phrases that were repeated so many times they became truth in the mind. Phrases like, "Money does not grow on trees. Who are you to want so much? People like us do not get there." These phrases create neural pathways that strengthen over decades. And when the time comes to receive something good, the subconscious sabotages it because there is an ingrained belief that it is not for you. This is a limiting programming, not a spiritual truth. No legitimate sacred scripture says you were born to suffer. All say you were born to evolve, and evolution includes abundance, health, and peace. Guilt needs to be named to be dissolved. Recognize it, look at it, and say firmly, "I am worthy of receiving. I deserve what is good. I do not need to suffer to prove my value." The second block is haste. The person does the protocol 1 day, 2 days, and on the 3rd, since nothing came, they give up and say it does not work. We live in the era of immediacy. Everything is for yesterday. You order food on an app and already get nervous if it takes 20 minutes. You buy an online course and want results in the first week, and then you transfer this mentality to the spiritual. But the spiritual does not work with a delivery deadline. The seed takes time to germinate. You do not plant a mango tree and start pulling the soil the next day to see if it was born. Think of a mango tree. It takes years to bear fruit, but when it does, it feeds entire families for decades. The miracle that is being prepared for you is the size of a mango tree, not a watercress seed. It needs strong roots, it needs time. There is a divine time. There is a time of preparation. Sometimes the delay is not denial, it is protection. Sometimes what you are asking for will arrive, but it needs 3 more weeks for the path to be clear. Trust the process, trust the time, and mainly, trust the one who is conducting this time. The third block is the most silent and the most dangerous. It is the vibration of desperation. When you wake up desperate, asking for the love of God, imploring, crying in anguish, the energy you emit is the energy of lack. And the energy of lack attracts more lack. I'm not saying to ignore the pain. I'm saying not to let the pain conduct the request. There is a difference between asking with faith and asking with desperation. Faith says, I know it is coming. Desperation says, please do not abandon me. Faith opens. Desperation contracts. And that is why the protocol begins with silence and gratitude, and not with supplication, because first you need to change the internal state so that the external can respond. If you have reached this point, I am absolutely certain that this video was placed in your path for a purpose. Not everyone watches a video of more than 20 minutes until the end. Most people give up in the first 5 minutes. The fact that you are here shows something about you. It shows that there is in you a strength, a faith, a determination that has not died, even after everything you have already been through, and it is exactly this strength that will carry you to the other side. The contract is coming. The news is on the way. The door is opening. But you need to be standing in silence with an open heart at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, not at 8:30, after scrolling through Instagram for 30 minutes. At 8, in the right state, with the right intention, with the right action. Tomorrow, when the clock marks 8 o'clock, I want you to remember this video. Remember the silence, remember the declaration, remember the visualization, remember the action, and remember the gratitude. Do this for 7 days in a row, and then come back here in the comments to tell me what happened. I read every comment, and I know that many of you will return here with a story that will inspire thousands of other people. Now, if you are not yet subscribed to this channel, this is the moment. Press the subscription button, activate the bell to receive notifications, because every week I bring content that unites science and spirituality in a practical way, without stalling, without false promises, with real tools that you can apply in your life starting now. And if this video touched your heart, if any phrase here made sense in your current situation, leave your like. This like is not just a number, it is a sign to the universe that you are saying, yes, I am ready to receive. I will close with a phrase that I want you to carry with you this entire week. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are being prepared. And the preparation is almost complete. The miracle of the 8 is not about believing it will happen. It is about acting like someone who already knows it will happen. Because those who already know do not implore. Those who already know position themselves. Those who already know give thanks before receiving. And those who give thanks before receiving, receive. Tomorrow at 8, I will be in thought with each of you. May peace, clarity, and abundance find you with open doors. We will see each other in the next video. And remember, write in the comments, miracle of the 8 and what you are waiting to receive. I want to pray together with you. Until next time.